Great news, Rangers fans. I mean, great news. We've hit 35,000 subs here at all DLLS, and we're really proud of that, and we're really happy, and we thank you for helping us do that. And you were thinking I had great news about the Rangers, weren't you? Sorry about that. But we do have news. We do have things to talk about because it's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Yeah, I like All About Sports Zone soon with this ownership group. Means something like 3 weeks from right now. Yeah, we don't, soon is a very, very relative term as we welcome you into the DLLS Sports Studios. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. John Radigan, Jeff Wilson, the cat, the queen over there who made the graphic for us, and who puts out the proverbial question mark. Soon, please? Can we get some news? Some knowledge, and Jeff, it doesn't appear that any of that is necessarily coming anytime real soon. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, free agency opens tomorrow, and so this isn't the NBA, and there aren't deals, right. A flurry of deals that are suddenly going to be announced at 12:01.
No,
but the Rangers have, in regards to soon, made some early signings, some November free agent signings, and the most recent one is our guy Kyle Higashioka, and it wouldn't surprise me in the least if that was the Rangers' motives for this free agent period. Try to get out and get ahead of the curb, try to get ahead of the market and sign the guys you really want before maybe they hear from another team that might be desperate, a little more desperate later in the offseason. Whatever the situation, I would think that I would bet on that. In fact, I would bet on that. Let's say 3 weeks before Thanksgiving.
Before Thanksgiving, the Rangers will have signed at least one.
Yeah,
at least one free agent.
Yeah, and like they signed Luis Curvello early last year.
Right.
We're gonna count Luis.
Yeah.
Right. Kind of an impactful,
much as we like the young man,
an impactful guy.
Yeah. He didn't move the needle when they signed him. That's for
sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Higashioka did. So do you think that in your mind is it someone of that ilk? I don't mean another potential backup catcher. I just mean of that sort of level of player that we all had heard of and it fills a need. It fills a very definite need.
Yeah, I don't think that I don't think Kyle Schwarber is looking to sign quickly here. No. I think that but the Rangers, they have their pro scouting meetings. They have an idea of what their budget's going to be, and so they try to go through and like Higashioka is a complementary piece.
Yeah.
Do they try to find another complementary piece to say, Evan Carter in center field, or a right fielder who maybe ends up in a platoon with, let's say, Alejandro Osuna, something like that. That's more what I'm thinking. Maybe a reliever, like they signed Joe Nathan. This is a different crew, although a lot of them are still around. With John Daniels right before Thanksgiving of 2011, after the 2011 season, they went ahead and signed Joe Nathan to a 2-year deal and said, Neftali Feliz is now a starter. So, they don't all work out. Half of that one did. Joe Nathan was great.
Yeah. Joe Nathan was fantastic.
But I think it'll be something like that. It won't be their off-season centerpiece in all likelihood.
No, and truthfully, I don't know that it'd be wonderful if they did have an off-season centerpiece, right? But I don't know that they'll have one. I mean, it seems like, again, based on the budget predictions we're hearing and all of that, it seems like that maybe there won't be a centerpiece. It'll be a couple of different guys in various positions that will complement what's already there, and then a whole bunch of guys that will fill up the bullpen.
Yeah, right. They need a guy at catcher. Yeah, right? I mean, that's big time. That seems like something that needs to be a priority, and because they're moving on from Jonah Heim. There's just I don't know that there's a scenario in which he's back. So you need time to get that guy, and that may end up being a trade because the free agent market's pretty thin. It's JT Realmuto at the top, and maybe Victor Caratini. Yeah, not exciting.
No, Realmuto's exciting, but he's expensive. Caratini's
a nice player.
Yeah,
but,
he's fine.
Is he your 100-game catcher?
No, I don't think I think he's more like he's like another 60-game guy.
So I'm not sure. And do they think, well, maybe we should sign an everyday right fielder? Maybe Osuna, while he's exciting and plays the game hard and is smart and good defensive player, do we want to expose him to everyday play? So maybe that becomes a focal point. And, there are a lot of outfielders out there. And, do you trade Marcus Semien?
Right.
And if you do that, do you need a second? You would need a second baseman in all likelihood. And Jorge Polanco turned down his option today with the Mariners. Right. So there's another name maybe to throw around. But I just, and I'm sure the Rangers have planned for all of these things. They probably are expecting guys to, or they have them on their list. If they opt out, great. If not, okay, we'll just take them off the list. But I do think that the Rangers have positioned themselves to sign quickly, but oftentimes the market also dictates the pace of the offseason.
Sure, absolutely it does. And again, perhaps Kyle Higashioka is the outlier in that, he told us on the show last year that he was so flattered that the Rangers came after him immediately, knew what they wanted, made him a competitive offer. He was so pleased to be wanted that badly that it was like a no-brainer for him to sign here. He certainly could have waited and maybe gotten a few more offers, but he said, no, I want this. I'm good here. Yeah,
and hey, there's a lot to it. There's a lot to feeling good and wanted, and so day one, Chris Young was on the horn to his agent, and the deal came together pretty quickly. So I would expect that Chris Young will be making a bunch of phone calls as soon as this free agency period opens.
Yeah, and along the lines of there's a lot of good that comes from being wanted. There is probably the opposite effect when a player knows he's maybe not necessarily wanted or wanted still. And I wonder if, like my son's a big Jonah Heim fan.
Okay.
And I would tell him throughout the course of the year, I don't think Jonah's going to be back next year. The way things are going, I don't think. My son's like, he's not a baby. My son's in his 20s. So he's like, oh, come on, man. Why are they going to get rid of Jonah? That's my man, And then he'd say, does Jonah know? And I'd be like, well, if I know, Jonah knows, right?
Yeah.
And so I wonder, and again, everybody's personality is different, but when that news sort of does finally sink in, maybe some of the body language we saw from Jonah last year was based on the fact that, well, this is a sinking ship anyway. I'm not going to be around, which again is a bad choice on his part, because if that's true, you need to play for the other teams that are out there who may be interested in you. But I wonder,
Yeah, I mean the writing's on the wall, and while players often say, "Oh, I don't check Twitter or read what's out there."
Stop it.
If they don't, their wives do.
Right.
or somebody in their family
Right.
does. So they know the talk. And now to be fair, it would be great if they could do it as soon as possible for the sake of the player. But
Sure.
I think you are going to the Rangers will try to attempt to get something for them, to trade them in some way, shape, or form. And like Nathaniel Lowe last year, the Rangers did end up tendering him a contract before trading him. Okay, and they got Robert Garcia is a pretty effective reliever.
Yeah,
I know people don't like to hear that, but
yeah,
it's true.
Well, and again, he's under control for another couple of years. So that's a great trade.
So maybe the Rangers could get something like that. But I don't know. That non-tender deadline, what do we say? It's the 21st.
Yeah.
I would expect that by the 21st, which is in less than 3 weeks, the Rangers will have their clearer picture on if they'll be able to move those guys or if they're just going to have to non-tender them.
Yeah, because what they're working on right now, in addition to figuring out their coaching staff, but there are a lot of people in baseball operations, and some of them are working right now on trying to determine, and this will happen next week at the GM meetings in Las Vegas as well, but what they're working on is trying to determine who might be interested in Jonah Heim, or as they mentioned, Ethan's got it, and Kirdua, they've got it, that Adolis will likely be in the same boat. Right, rowing out of town with Jonah Heim.
Yes, and the GM meeting is like a continuation of conversations that took place at the trade deadline and even last off season. But you get these guys together, maybe they go out to the bar, and there you are. Some ideas start getting kicked around.
Sure.
The Rangers know what other teams need. And teams know what they need. Teams know what the Rangers' strengths are, which really, honestly, it's probably starting pitching with DeGrom, Eovaldi, Leiter, and I would throw Rocker in there, a high upside potential ace, and so maybe they're looking at the pitching. I don't know, but to trade Semien, it's going to have to you're going to have to eat some of the money, or you're going to have to find a swap swap of bad contracts. And I don't know if you believe in the fresh start situation. It might work, it might not, but I don't really know that you're swapping out all that much. Are you really solving a problem?
Well, the only way, I could see it is if you could swap out 3 years left, right, for a bad 1 year. But I don't know that any other team is going to do that.
Right.
Unless they truly believe in Marcus Semien and that they can, whoever they might be, sort of resurrect his offense. His defense isn't a problem. Hasn't been. He won a Gold Glove, for God's sake.
Right.
So, he's fine there. And he is what he is in the clubhouse. I mean, we've seen him for 3 years now. He's not going to change. We've seen him for 4 years, haven't we? 22, 23, 24, 25.
Mm-hmm.
4 years. And so, I just hit the desk, didn't I? I'm banging this. I speak with my hands. It messes with the mic every time. So, sorry, Kat. It's one of those. At least it's not cursing. But we've seen Marcus for 4 years. He's been the same guy in the clubhouse the entire time.
Right.
He's not changing, not at this point in his career.
He's very steady and believes in his routine. But Chris Young said it at the end of the end of season press deal that Marcus has to make some mechanical and philosophical changes. Is he willing to do that? I would think if you're getting paid that much money, you would be willing to do it.
Sure.
And if not, then they need to go ahead and move on from that player.
Yeah, and so these are all things that are being worked on right now, as well as announcing and I guess in a way finishing out the coaching staff. We know several of the people who are gone. We haven't heard about a lot or maybe any replacements yet. So we'll keep working on that, and they will keep working on that. And coming up next on the DLLS Rangers podcast, we're going to talk about, obviously 2023 was the best because the Rangers won the World Series. But there were other things about that year and the year before and the year after that were great too. And they appear to be gone, just like the confetti at the World Series parade. We talk about it next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. But first, we talk about Qualis Roofing, and I am I'm a very experienced roofing guy. I had 2 houses and 4 buildings that all needed new roofs at the beginning of the year. So I'm telling you, if you can find a place that has 700 5-star reviews and an average rating of 4.9 out of 5, then you need to go with them. And Qualis is one of the most trusted names in North Texas and in Austin. So 2 places where, we're replacing roofs in those 2 places all the time because of the hail. Homeowners and business owners alike consistently praise Qualis Roofing for their fantastic work, their honesty, and the fantastic work that they do. So you should call or go online for a free roof inspection. And when you do, don't forget to ask about your free shirt, right? You get a free DLLS t-shirt when you do that. It's Qualis. It's QualisGC.com or just Qualis Roofing and Construction. That's Qualis, Qualis.
Hey, John, did you see those our Twitter feed last night? The Main Street branch there.
I did.
From PNC Bank. That was pretty cool.
That was awesome.
It was like this Main Street branch pop-up. I was just thinking it'd be a tent. This is like a building with the mullet and ginger mullet hair that we seem to like so much. Anyway, their deal, Maine, M-A-N-E, meaning hair in this instance. And we're talking mullets.
Yeah.
And mullets take a long time to grow. You have to have patience. Hockey players seem to have, a lot of patience. Yeah. But that long-term growth requires the patience, both financially and in the mullet sense. And that's their deal at PNC Bank in this Main Street branch. They've tied them together. So tie your finances to PNC Bank, grow you a mullet. But anyway, tomorrow is the last day of the Main Street branch. Our crew is going to be there at PNC Plaza at American Airlines Center. And so please stop by and see them. You can pick up your Dallas Stars hockey hair hat. No purchase necessary. PNC Bank, a proud partner of DLLS and the Dallas Stars.
Huge win, by the way, for the Stars last night as they got their revenge, if you will. It doesn't really count, but it was Edmonton who's knocked them out of the playoffs in each of the last 2 years.
Oh, those bad guys,
nasty Oilers, and anyway, and that's also Glenn Gullitson's most recent team. So there was a lot on the line last night for the Stars, and they got the big win in overtime. So
big win,
good for them. Great game by Mikko Rantanen, and that's awesome. That's really fun. Yeah, that's fun. So here's the thing. Really, probably starting in 2022, the Rangers were suddenly on everybody's list for everything, right?
Yeah.
It didn't matter who the free agent was. They would say, who are the contenders for this free agent? Blah, blah, blah. Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers, Rangers, right? It was Blue Jays every once in a while, right? It was like, oh my gosh, the Rangers have just vaulted. And again, I get it. I understand how this happened. It happened because in the offseason of 2022, the Rangers signed, in 22 they signed Corey Seager, Marcus Semien. And
21 going into the 22 season.
Going into the 22 season. And then in the 22, I guess technically the signings all occurred in the previous year. But 22 going into 23 was when they signed Eovaldi and DeGrom, among others, right? And so then the world of baseball was like, oh, wow, okay, the Rangers are serious about this. And unfortunately, and even in 24, there was and look, they added to it in 24. Like I'm not even sure they were on the lists to sign Max Fried. And then we found out that they were. And so I'm
Yeah,
still
yeah.
like, oh my gosh. And at the time, Chris Young continued to say, hasn't said this lately, unfortunately, he continued to say, we are out to make sure everybody knows that 2023 was not the aberration, right? That 2024 was. And that, unfortunately, Jeff, that verbiage has not been uttered and is, I guess, basically, I don't want to say that it's not. I mean, of course, Chris Young would like to make that a reality, but I don't know that it's a realistic hope at this point.
It sure seems like all these people who are matching up with the Rangers, like as Ethan pointed out, Jim Bowden said he thinks the Rangers will sign Pete Alonso. It ain't happening.
No.
Okay.
No.
Based on some conversations that I've had and some things that have been written, the Rangers are Ray Davis is cutting the payroll.
Yeah.
Pete Alonso is probably a fit. He'd probably fit there. Rangers could use a power hitting first baseman. Sure. After what Jake Berger did last year or didn't do last year, of course, hey, Pete Alonso is a perfect fit. Financially, though, based on the news that's out there, it's not happening.
Baseball America says Pete Alonso is sort of the number 5 sought-after free agent in this class. 7 for $175.
That's 20. That's Marcus Semien.
That's Marcus Semien money.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Marcus got. And no, that's not. They're not in that game right now, Mr. Bowden.
Yeah, they're not, and it's not fun. So if you see those, take it with a grain of salt. Now, again, like you said, the Fried thing, they popped up, and I don't think anybody really had them tied to Fried.
No.
A lot of it will be relationships with agents and things like that. I think the thing that the Rangers most need to work on is finding the catcher, and then then the question becomes: would you want to do quality over quantity? Let's say you had $20 million earmarked for your bullpen. Would you want to put half of that into a closer? I think so. I would. And everybody's talking about, man, it sure would be fun to have Sean Armstrong back. I agree. But Sean Armstrong is not a young man.
No.
And he's running out of opportunities to land big money.
Cash
and he
in.
had a fantastic year. So would Sean Armstrong take a hometown discount to pitch for the Rangers?
No.
Probably not.
No.
And he had a great time here.
He wanted to get signed during this period when the Rangers were the only ones who could sign him.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen.
Right.
But again, I mean, I've seen projections that he's in the $5 million range for next year anyway. And who knows, maybe then if you're talking a 2-year deal, which of course Sean would prefer, you may be looking at, 2 years for 9.5 or something like that. But
well, then would he be your closer at that price point?
Right.
Which is outrageous because it's not that expensive, right? I mean, closers are making $15 to $20 million, the top ones.
Yeah, they are.
Of course, he's not a top closer, but nevertheless, even the middle tier group of guys get 10 north of 10 to 13, let's say.
Edwin Diaz's projection, by the way, is 6 for $125.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's a big
so that's
number.
22.5 or something a year. Yeah.
I mean, he's got to be getting old, right?
Yeah. Right.
Well, anyway, but yeah, to your point, and I remember at past points, since with me on the beat, it's like, oh, the offseason is going to run through the Rangers, and like the Josh Hamilton year, of course, and then there were years where it's like, oh well, and the Rangers are going to trade for B.J. Upton, and they're going to trade for. No, it was Justin Upton, not BJ.
Okay.
But it was like this and that and the other, and none of them really happened. And, John Daniels' line at the time was, and this is a line that's uttered by a lot of guys, well, our goal isn't to win the offseason.
Right.
It's to put together the best team for the regular season. But you don't want to finish the last in the offseason either. All right?
Yeah.
And so, the Rangers need to figure out how they're going to do this. Some of it, they may have to trade some contract. They may have to live with a young guy at a position just because of the finances. But I just, I don't have a lot of high hopes for this offseason, at least not right now. Now, to Ray Davis's credit, you can talk him into a deal.
Yeah.
He knows how much money he has. But he
to the penny. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. By the hour.
Yeah.
But he probably, can be talked into certain deals and has been. I think, though, he seems very, very insistent that the CBT won't be crossed. All right, that's fine. You can still do a lot for $230.
Yeah.
But if they were at $240 last year, roughly, would they cut to below $200? If you do that, you definitely got to trade one of your veteran guys.
Right. And if you're going to go below 200, that doesn't mean you can't be successful.
Right.
And because we've seen there were several teams in the playoffs this year, Milwaukee foremost among them, the team that had the most wins in Major League Baseball, and who, by the way, are pretty much letting everybody go. I think they picked up the option on Peralta, but pretty much everybody else is just out of there, But that you can get it done, and maybe that's also some of the subtext, if you will, the subplot of bringing in a manager and a staff that did just that in Miami in 2023, right? Got the most out of, guys who nobody expected to be that good.
Yeah, and another part of this is the player. Josh Young has to get better.
Yeah.
Is Josh Young motivated to get better?
Right.
Is he capable of getting better? He went down to AAA and was probably better in the second half, but he still has adjustments to make. He still needs to get better. We're talking about Marcus Semien needing to change. Wyatt Langford needs to change.
Sure.
Evan Carter needs to do some things differently. Jake Berger, needs to do things differently. I just think that with those guys, is it time to move on based on the financial circumstances of the team? Probably not, because there's a lot of value in Young and Berger being young guys. And of course, they're not going to do anything with Langford. They think Langford hangs the moon.
Yep.
And same thing with Evan Carter. But there comes a point in time, and it happened with Nomar Mazara, for instance, where it's like, is this guy, has he maxed out?
Yeah.
Has he hit his ceiling? And is there something else that he can do to shake loose? And is he willing to make the commitment? So at that point, that's when you have to cut bait. So I think Josh Young will be on the team. I have a good feeling about Jake Berger being on the team. It's just they have to do it too.
Yep, they do. They've got to come through. It's on them. And your point about Mazara, so well taken. When he burst onto the scene, I thought he was just going to have an unbelievable career.
Sure.
And I don't want to say that he didn't want to put in the work, but somehow maybe he got to big league baseball at his peak, right? At his peak talent-wise, and he just couldn't go to that next level because all these guys will then, adjust, and then you have to adjust back and all that. We've talked about that a million times, but yeah, he's a classic example. And Kelly, man, I agree with you. There's this window with Jacob deGrom and Nathan Eovaldi, and that's why we are sensitive to. And Jeff's already asked, Chris Young, so are we rebuilding? And Chris Young's adamant, no, we have not said that word. But you really hope they're not, right? And we hope that it doesn't go down that path right now because you do only have a couple more years with each of those guys. And when you have pitching like that, it can really correct a lot of mistakes that are made through the acquisition of other players and all that kind of thing. They almost made the playoffs with the worst offense, or one of the bottom 5 offenses in baseball this year. Right. Because of that great pitching.
Yeah. And I agree. I know it's their strength, but, if you're serious about contending, you can't trade them. I think that, you can, to what Chris Young said, okay, you're not using the word, okay, but
but are you doing it? Yeah,
everything seems to be lining up to that.
Yeah.
And again, the transactions what happens player acquisition wise or non-acquisition wise, trade wise, will tell you a lot of what they're going to do. Now, the farm system does need some boosting.
Mm-hmm.
So if they traded a guy for prospects, that wouldn't necessarily mean that they're rebuilding. But if they don't replace him with a veteran, then yeah, it's like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
We see the writing on the wall here. I did like Bruce's point up earlier. You got to sign players to get butts in the seats.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
And if you're at the this fledgling TV market that's not selling ads, how are you going to sell the team on a rebuild?
Yep.
or hey, Corey Seager. Well, he may play 120 games.
Yeah.
And then who are you putting around him?
Right.
It's not you definitely have to put something presentable on the field to attract advertisers and to attract fans.
Yes, and especially for this, as you mentioned, this fledgling TV network, right? I mean, the only way to make money is to also have eyeballs on it. And if people aren't watching the Rangers, that network's not going to have the opportunity to make the kind of money that I believe the Rangers need it to make in order to have the financial freedom to maybe not be so worried about the budget. So coming up next, let's talk about possible free agent priorities. And I've already said I'm not sure there's going to be a centerpiece, but even among those, sort of middling level players, what is the priority? Is it pitching? Or is it offense? Let's talk about it next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Hey, and it's time for you to join the Supporters Club because right after this show, there is a drop. We're going to drop a video that Jeff and I made right before this show that talks about some of these types of things, but it's things we haven't talked about on the program yet, and it definitely addresses free agency in the offseason, and all you have to do is pay $5 or either $15 to join the Supporters Club, and you will have access to it. And you'd also have access, by the way, to those lovely emojis and all the other fun videos that have been produced here. I guess it's, what is it, every week a different team? Yeah. So every other week a different team does it. So this is our turn. Baseball, next week, presumably hockey. You saw, Jeff mentioned it, you saw the one about Halloween candy last week. So there's all kinds of fun stuff there, sicko level stuff. Supporters Club, please join it today.
Yeah, and like we advise you multiple times a week, sign up for the newsletter already, alldls.com. Go to that, our homepage, all the way to the bottom, and right there you'll see the little banner ad at the bottom and a place to put in your email and hit submit. That's it. That's all we want. And it also helps keep you informed. It draws you to the things that are on our website that you're going to want to read. Ali is the one putting that bad boy together. Busy young man.
Yes, he is.
Ali.
Yes, he is. Especially with all those trades the Cowboys made yesterday.
How about that? So there's probably some trade stuff to pour into. There's going to be trade and free agency stuff pour into on the Rangers front. You got the Mavericks and then the Stars. So it's time to sign up for this newsletter if you haven't already.
Yeah, it's a really good choice to do that. Any chance the Rangers have another reunion with Martin Perez?
I would love it.
We would love that. That's kind of like the Wash reunion we talked about yesterday.
And I did not speak to Wash, so
all right,
I'm not taking any comments on that.
No, we'll get to Wash later. But we'd love a Martin Perez reunion. We'd love a Wash reunion. I don't think they're going to happen, but it'd be super fun. And I really do believe, like many of you do, the Wash thing could have a lasting effect on numbers, any number of these guys. I saw somebody earlier already talking about how Josh Young could be better, and any infielder could be under the tutelage of Ron Washington. So, all right, so free agent priorities. Are you more worried about the offense, which was by far the weakness of the team this year and really the last 2 years, by far? Or are you more worried, as Chris Young certainly is, about the pitching staff as you go forward? Now, I suppose in some ways we almost have to state clearly there's not enough players under contract to complete a bullpen. So that has to be a priority, right? They don't have to sign a starting pitcher. They've got enough. They don't have to sign a hitter, but they have to sign bullpen people. So we get that, right? We get that bullpen must be bolstered because they don't have enough people to fill out a bullpen right now. So then beyond that, what is it? Is it a hitter? Is it a pitcher?
I think it's like we said, a hitter, a catcher who also affects the pitching staff.
True.
So they don't want Gary Sanchez back there. They want a guy that can play a little defense too. But pitching wins championships. It didn't this year for the Rangers. If pitching did win championships, Rangers would have won the championship. They had the best ERA in baseball. I think that you can't have a third straight year of offensive mediocrity. You got to go ahead and shake things up, and it's expected to happen on the Garcia and Heim front. Is that enough? It's not like they were the only two people holding down this lineup. It's not like they came up every inning with runners in scoring position and to get the job done. Do you need to shake it up a little bit more? And then do these players that are on the roster now fit what Skip Schumacher wants to accomplish offensively? Corey Seager fits everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. You just let Corey Seager do what he's got to do. And then it gets back to Semien. Can Semien be the player that the Rangers want him to be, that Skip Schumacher wants him to be? He is a terrific base runner. In addition to that, it would be nice, because Skip, as we talked about, likes to hit the gas on the bases. Marcus could certainly accomplish that. But again, how much shakeup do you want to do, and how much can you afford to bring in to find these pieces? And I keep seeing Luis Arise.
Yeah,
Ethan,
love that.
You're not the only one who thinks he would be a great fit. And Skip Schumacher, I know, would love to have him. So hopefully they can get something like that. A guy who's going to hit the ball and put the ball in play, and he could play second. He could be your second baseman.
Yeah.
The problem, the only other problem, or the other problem, is he plays first base and he plays DH.
Yeah.
And those positions are somewhat spoken for. We haven't mentioned Jock Peterson at all in this show. I don't know that there's a lot you can do with Jock. If you trade him for nothing, you gotta replace him. And are you going to replace him with a couple guys? And let's say you replace him with a couple guys. Well, were they earmarked for another position? You're kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul out of your own your own player pool that you have. So you may just have to suck it up and see what he can do. If it's another slow start, all right, he doesn't have to finish the season with you.
Yeah.
He can sit on the bench. I just think that you're going to see Peterson on this team.
Yes.
So
and that actually goes back to, I had this thought about the previous segment when we were talking about how the Rangers not that long ago were associated with everybody, and I thought it was even true on Jock Peterson. I'm like, oh, they're not going to get Jock Peterson last year. Everybody wants Jock Peterson, which, everybody apparently would have been wrong, but you can't make mistakes either, right? If you want to stay in that realm of being in on everybody, you can't make a free agent mistake like this, because why? Chris Young, have a boss too. Jeff said it many times, right? He's got a boss, and his boss goes, well, why am I going to spend all this money on this guy when last year we did that,
Yeah.
and it sure didn't work out very well with Jock Peterson, right? I mean, there's performance evaluations for everybody, and I know it's an inexact science, and none of us would have thought that Jock Peterson was going to have the year he had.
No, and they were so excited about it.
They were.
And thought he was going to be great. And boy, he was not. And maybe the off season will help reset him. Maybe he'll come back in better shape. Something needs to happen. But even then, you still got a platoon with him.
Right.
So can you use a combination of Peterson, Arise, Berger between two spots? First DH and first and DH. Berger can play third. Could you get him some games at third? He's played second in the majors. I don't know that I'd want to do that very often, but
has Arise played second?
Yeah, Arise in 23 was Schumacher's second baseman.
Okay,
so I think that he could do that. It's just there are a lot of combinations. I just think that Jock Peterson definitely at this point is a hindrance, not like, hey, we can count on Jock. Can you? But
at best he's a question mark.
With the contract, you really don't have a choice to do it unless you just want to say, we screwed up, the heck with it. Have a good day, Jock.
Yeah. And then, of course, that's the talk about hitting as the priority. The other side of it is, of course, pitching. And, do you go all in on, I'm not talking about probably not like Dylan Cease here or, one of the, best pitchers that are out there that are going to get, 5 years for $170 million again. I'm talking about one of the middling pitchers. Do you go there for free agency and then count on coaches and pedigree and history working for your offense? Now, again, it didn't work last year, or the year before. So can you count on that internal improvement from your own players offensively? I do think that they should, right? They've done it before. They should be able to do it again. We've seen it with our own eyes. So it's in there. They ought to be able to do it again, and maybe the best bet is to have this great pitching staff that, again, heals so many wounds.
Right. I mean, if you're not going to outscore them, you got to prevent runs. And the Rangers were obviously great pitching this year. You'd think there would be drop off just because they were so good.
Yeah, that's the other problem.
But how much drop off will there be? Well, if you still have DeGrom and Eovaldi, you're starting from a position of strength. That's for sure. And if Leiter continues his upward trajectory, fantastic. You got three pretty good guys. Mm-hmm. It's what are you going to do with the other two? Are you going to sign a guy? Are you going to trade for Sonny Gray, as we kind of speculated about? But what would the Cardinals take in return for that hefty salary? Would there be a bad contract for bad contract?
It's not going to work with Adolis because that's just the Rangers can't take in this environment right now. Can't take on that Sonny Gray contract. It's $35 million for this year.
Yeah.
They can't trade, 10? Is that what Adolis was? Or 12 he's supposed to make? They can't trade 10 or 12 for 35.
Yeah, so, they'd have to get other pieces. I don't know. We're gonna put this thing together. We'll have our ideas, and probably not.
You guys all have yours.
Anywhere close to what the Rangers are thinking?
No, yeah, I know. You guys all have your ideas too, and we love them. We appreciate all of that. And I did see Kumar stepping into a bigger role, I think it's definitely a possibility, if not this year, then next. But I don't see them trading him. Someone brought it up earlier. Could they trade him for? You especially Chris Young, but you just really you don't want to trade a guy with that much upside.
Yeah, and I don't know that he is going to make the team out of spring training.
Right, I don't either.
I don't see that happening because after he retooled himself, he only made one start, and it was for 2 innings. He needs, and just because Bruce Bochy and Mike Maddox aren't here anymore, the fact still remains what they said. Kamar Rocker needs game reps.
Yep.
He needs to learn a little bit more about the game.
Mm-hmm.
And now he may, this delivery may work out. He may have all these mechanics sorted out and be ready to go, but don't force it. You forced it last year when he wasn't ready to go. You need to make sure he's ready. And I'm not sure that that spring training is going to be enough of a test for him.
Right.
I think he needs some time at AAA to start the season, and then he can earn his way into the rotation.
Sure. Yeah. And yeah, you don't want to just gift it to him. That's for sure. And that's why it wouldn't hurt to get another pitcher via free agency, so he wouldn't be pressed into service like he was last year, actually, because of the injuries. I mean, he was basically not going to make the opening day roster last year, and he was pressed into service because of those late injuries to Gray and to Bradford. So anyway, time for our cleanup segment. Lots to talk about there. We will get to that and wrap this one up as we continue with the DLLS Rangers podcast. And it's Die Hard Day. And we appreciate you, considering, if you haven't already, becoming a diehard. It is absolutely worth every penny that you will pay. There may be another sale down the road, but why wait? There's a lot of news happening right now. It's all being written about. I'm sure that right now, Clarence and Ali are out there working the whole, Cowboys trades stories. I know that back in the day when I was on the Cowboys beat, Wednesday was a really big day for getting interviews and all that stuff. So you want to read about these new Cowboys players? Well, those are the guys to bring that news to you. You want to read about everything the Rangers are going to continue to do? This is the guy. He broke 2 stories last week. This is the guy that's going to bring that to you. Same with the Stars. Sam does that kind of thing. And Ron has already broken a story. He's been here less than a month on the Mavs beat. So, look, we've got you covered. That's why we're doing this. So become a diehard, and I don't think you'll regret it for 1 second.
Yeah, you won't, and you'll get a free shirt.
Yeah,
kind of like the sweet one John's wearing. I've got on his voter American Proud shirt.
Oh, good.
The Love of Texas red shirt underneath. Probably not a great match, actually. When I look back,
blue goes with red.
My choices. But if I shed the pullover, then I'm set.
Yeah.
Anyway, free shirt, store.allcitynetwork.com. with your diehard membership, and we have so much more. Check out this sweet lid I'm wearing. We're getting more of those, which I will be acquiring. Sweatshirts, despite the temperatures today, sweatshirt season is upon us. Flags, beer steins. It's always beer season. Coffee cups.
Yeah,
we got it all at store.allcitynetwork.com.
So here's some news from Kansas City. The Royals have signed Salvador Perez to a 2-year contract extension. And the great news about that is what will happen for Salvador is he can finish out that contract and then immediately start collecting Social Security, which is just fantastic. He won't miss any paychecks it's amazing. And I don't blame them, right? But this guy that was the captain and the MVP of the World Series in 2015 is still signing contract extensions. He's a catcher I think he's 36 now.
Yeah.
And that's long in the tooth for a catcher, but he doesn't show tremendous signs of fading in any way, Jeff.
Yeah, they've lightened his workload behind the plate.
Yes.
He'll play some first base. He'll DH. But, man, he still hit 30 home runs last year. This guy probably a Hall of Fame player.
Oh, yeah.
Spent his entire career with the Royals, so this ensures that, unless they want to give him a chance at the end to go and
play for a winner.
Last chance, last hurrah situation. So that's good. And, he just seems like a really fun guy, a good guy. I saw him at leaving spring training in the Admiral's Lounge at the airport. And just a good guy, sitting talking with his agent or his buddy or whatever.
Yeah.
Very pleasant to everybody that came in. And anyway, I like that one.
I do too. And again, when you're a captain of a team that early in your career, and then now he's like king, right, of the team. I mean, forget captain. They've got a crown for him because he's been around for so long. He's accomplished so much, and he continues to do so. The extension, I think he had basically 2 more years, and then they added 2 years on for $25 million. So that'll be obviously like $12.5 million when he's right at 40, I think. So let's see. Maybe he'll just be a DH by then. Who knows? But good for him, especially since he is such a good guy. Bad for our buddy Yu Darvish.
Oh, man.
Yeah, how about that?
Oh.
Yu has UCL, ulnar collateral ligament surgery, out for the year.
Yeah.
And is he done for his career?
I don't know. He had the brace procedure. Dr. Meister did it. This is Tommy John number 2 for you. Shohei has had 2. He is a little bit older now.
Yeah.
You was 26 when he came over.
Right.
And that was a long time ago. That was
12, right?
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, so that was 13 years ago.
I hope so. He's just a good guy. His son apparently is a heck of a high school pitcher.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the San Diego area. But yeah, that stinks. I hate it for him.
I do too. I hate to have that happen for Yu Darvish. We always liked him when he was here. How about Shane Bieber?
Yeah.
Opting in Toronto. Now, the option was $16 million, but there was a $4 million buyout. So I've seen it said that he's basically pitching for $12 million a year.
Yeah.
In Toronto next year. Now, look, his wife and Max Scherzer's wife just wrote glowing things on social media about what a great environment it was to pitch and to live, and the team environment, and they loved everything about Toronto and all that. So, good for them. And by the way, Max Scherzer will not be staying there because one of his best buddies is now the manager in San Francisco. So I think, Max Scherzer goes to San Francisco to play for Vitello. But that said, that's what I got. Yeah. Ooh. That said, Shane Bieber is staying, and he's staying for $16 million a year. And what did I say earlier? The projection was 5 for 150, something like that. Let's see if it's down here. Yeah, Shane Bieber is where was that? He was on this list.
When you said
there he is. Yeah, 5 150.
That really surprised me.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
hey, if you're happy wife, happy life, she seems pretty happy.
And B, to that point, when you've made all that money, right? It's kind of like, do we really need that much more? We probably don't.
I don't know that he's made a ton of money, Shane. I mean, he's done all right. Don't get me wrong, but he'll get his payday.
Did he get a big contract in Cleveland at all?
I don't remember.
No, I don't either.
Anyway, a lot of these Blue Jays are coming back.
Yes.
Gossman's under contract. Barrios, who didn't pitch in the postseason, is back. Got Yasevich, who everybody's super excited about. I don't even remember. The World Series just ended. I can't even name the rotation, but throw Bieber in there.
Gossman.
Gossman. Yeah, Gossman's back. So that's 4 pretty good starters. The big question, I guess, for them now becomes, do they re-sign Bo Bichette? And at what cost does that come? Because they got Vladdy, They've got these young guys like Clement and Addison Barger and Lucas and Varsho. They got a nice group all really coming back. So, hey, maybe they want to give it a shot. Get another crack at the World Series.
Sure. Oh my God, why not? I mean, first of all, they were that close, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the Rangers, and they were way closer than the Rangers in 10. But when you get there in 10 and you think you've got this great core of players, which they did, you're really dying to get back in 11, and they did. And then you were dying even more to get back in 12, and they didn't. But anyway, yeah, I think that Toronto has a pretty good chance to get back next year. And that $16 million that Bieber signs for pales by comparison to the money that Eric, I believe it said ARIC, Eric Oshawa made.
Oh, how much did he make?
Eric?
Yeah.
Was the winner of the, I don't know if it was the whole postseason or just the World Series, but you know those 50-50 drawings that they have at all the ballparks?
Yeah.
Eric got $25 million.
What?
And they said, now this is again social media, I don't know if it's true. They said that's tax-free in Canada, maybe. I don't know. How is that tax-free? I guess because it was a charity thing? I don't know. $25 million tax-free is the word that this guy got.
Wow.
Is that unbelievable? That's crazy. And somebody, one of the people I saw on Twitter said, nobody's making enough out of this story. And so anyway, now we've made something out of this story.
No,
is that what it says there?
It's not just on social media. There are multiple links to it.
Yeah. 25 million, right?
25 million. Yeah. The Blue Jays Jays Care Foundation. The higher the attendance, the bigger the pot. Dragged on, the amount of the 50-50 jackpot was higher than any such raffle in history. How did it get that high?
I don't know. I guess just that many people played it. But is that money tax-free here? Because I may have to start playing the damn thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you'll see it on any given night at the Rangers where you're splitting, the 50-50. You're splitting $30,000. I mean, not regularly, but on a big game, a Friday or Saturday night game.
Now I remember opening day there in 22, and the jackpot was really big. It was like 150,000.
Oh, geez.
I was like, gosh, dang it! These Canadians like to gamble.
Yeah.
I don't know. There had to be a match or something from the club.
There must be something. Yeah.
Because I just don't understand how
gets up
a crowd of 45,000 can get it up to 50 million.
45,000 times 4, still 50 million. Yeah.
Times 40. I mean,
times 4 games. I mean,
times 4 games.
Yeah.
Oh, they just did it at the end.
Yeah,
that's still too big of a number.
I know. I still think so too.
I think the team had to help.
Because again, I don't think any of them. So 50 million divided by 4, whatever that is. You don't
12 and a half.
Yeah, you don't have. You never have a $12.5 million 50-50 at any game, anytime. I don't think it's not tax free here, says Janet.
So Janet's either won one at the Rangers or is a CPA.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So now we know that. Most watched World Series game and series since 2017, which I do find ironic because of the controversial nature of 2017.
I guess we didn't know it at the time.
As we watched it, we did not know that the Astros were cheating. We learned that later, but I thought that was pretty interesting. The Game 7 with the 25 million and the 25 plus, almost 26, and the series overall most watched since 2017. Fox put out a big press release for that, and I don't blame them. And Tropicana Field, Jeff, will be a playa.
Oh, good.
This year. They're going to play games in Tropicana Field. Look how it looks compared to Look what they've done.
It looks exactly the same.
It looks exactly how it used to look, but I just didn't
I would have painted it or something.
Right?
Throw some
paint, some color.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And I don't even know, honestly. Oh, it does say Tropicana Field on that post. I don't even know if you're Tropicana, do you want to be associated with the place that dang near blew down?
I would like to know what they're doing to the inside, because this is an opportunity for you to make improvements.
Agreed. And I hope they did.
Yeah.
There's only so much they can do with all the scaffolding and everything that
we need to call John Daniels on that one.
Yeah.
Hopefully they are making some improvements. It's a perfect time to do it.
Yeah.
And there was damage caused by the rain and such.
And it was basically down to the studs. I mean, right?
Yeah, it didn't look great.
No.
Yeah. And so then that's a pretty expensive project.
Yes.
But the team just sold, right? So
yes. New owner probably super excited. Yeah, let's spend some money, and then he'll He'll reverse that trend very soon.
Oh, God, get us out of here.
Very, very soon. What was I thinking? We can't draw here in St. Petersburg. So anyway, that is going to do it for us, and it's going to do it for Jeff for the week.
That's
so
right. I'm out of here.
Sorry to let you know about that. But the good news is Abs will be sitting here with me tomorrow and Friday.
Hang on. We got some Rangers transactions.
Okay, let's hear it.
Willie McIver and Michael Otanez, pronounced Michel Otanez, acquired from the Athletics via waiver claim. Outfielders Dustin Harris and Billy McKinney cleared waivers and are now free agents.
Okay. We love you watching us each and every day right here on the DLLS Rangers podcast. So let's dive into this.
Okay.
Let's go through this a little more carefully here.
All right. That sounds good. Catcher Willie McIver.
Yep.
And right-handed pitcher Michel Otanez acquired from the Athletics via waiver claim. Outfielders Dustin Harris and Billy McKinney cleared waivers and are now free agents. Okay, so I'd kind of written about this as a possibility tomorrow, not the waiver claims, but the potential for McKinney and Dustin Harris to be designated for assignment, which appears to have happened, and they have cleared, and they're now free agents. I don't know if they want to re-sign with the Rangers or not. I hate to miss Dustin Harris. I would hate that.
Yeah.
Billy seemed like a great guy, just didn't have a lot of opportunity to talk to him. So anyway, there's some catching depth, I guess.
Yeah, it's just got to be depth. I'm looking at McIver's, deal. He's coming from the Athletics.
Yeah, and they have a pretty good catcher.
They do.
I don't know if you've heard that or not.
He made his debut in 2025. McIver, California kid, went to the University of Washington, played for the Huskies for 3 seasons. So he's
he's 29. He just turned 29. So this is not a young man.
No.
But he has options.
Yeah. Drafted by the Rocky. Oh, was this? He didn't sign? No. He was drafted by the Rockies in 18.
Yeah.
Goodness. Yeah.
So this is a depth move.
Yeah, totally.
He has options. So we will be seeing Mr. McIver in spring training, and then intermittently throughout the year when they need an extra catcher. That's basically what this is.
He made his major league debut last year on my birthday. So
well.
Happy birthday to me, and happy debut to him.
You'll have to tell him.
I will. I'll tell him that.
And then Otanez made his debut in 24. He pitched 6 games in 25. He actually pitched a lot in 24 for the A's. So again, it's going to be a guy who is has options and is somebody who obviously the Rangers have liked probably for a long time.
Sure.
I mean, if he's Dominican, I'm sure they've been following him for a dozen years probably.
Yeah. And he's a bullpen guy, obviously, right?
Yeah. So you get you get him, and so hooray. He had a shoulder injury last spring, and you wonder, well, what does he do well? Well, I'm glad you asked, John.
Yeah, I'm really very curious about that.
Pretty big fastball, and then a slider. So you only need a couple pitches if you're a reliever.
Relief pitcher, sure.
If they can ever, I think he has some issues with consistency and command. So
he might be the Luis Crivello of his office.
Could be.
Now. Yeah,
could be.
Yeah. We'll see. And again, Luis wasn't. He became useful last year. So we're not crapping on Luis. And plus, I think he's a great kid. But
there you go.
There you go. Now we've got news. How about that news? We're so happy to bring you news. That's going to do it for us. We're glad you stuck with us for even an extra couple of minutes today as we get some breaking news there late in the process. And we'll, of course, digest all of it and any other news that happens the next couple of days right here on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.